The coast. The long, thin line where land meets sea. This rich but narrow territory sets the stage for some vicious brawls.
That beak is like a screwdriver attached to your head, and they are just going to jab, jab, jab.
And the waters offer no escape.
When you are a 40,000 kilogram humpback whale, you can do some damage to your opponent.
It does get really, really nasty.
Where the strongest show no mercy.
They have a murderous streak, and it is, unfortunately, a bloodbath.
To defend their legacy at any cost.
As Mr. Darwin once and famously said, it's all about survival of the fittest.
Every day, everywhere, our planet is a battleground. Turf wars, food fights, and mating mayhem rage on as animals outwit and outmaneuver their own kind in Battle of the Alphas. The Earth is an ocean planet. 71% of the place is covered by water. Along the shorelines where land and water collide, food is abundant, and real estate is limited. It's the perfect recipe for a fight. Enter the iconic elephant seal, poster boy for the beach bloodbath. The motto of a bull elephant seal is go big or go home.
You don't need to be a scientist to be able to pick out a male elephant seal. They 100% live up to their name, not just because they have that huge shonk on the front of their face, but also because they are truly massive.
An average-sized male weighs as much as an SUV. His best speed on land is just a bit faster than most humans can walk. Not surprisingly, these heavyweights were built for swimming.
These are animals that spend the vast majority of their time in the ocean. And being a big fat thing like that, well, actually in the ocean, that's fine because the water takes that weight.
But there's one time of year when elephant seals leave the water behind. At breeding time, the females head to the beach to give birth and then mate again. And the males? They're already there, locked in the battle of their lives.
The males have to establish their territory before the females arrive. So the males will come out onto the beach and they're looking to control as much of the beach as possible.
Females come and they're just laid out, females and their pups. Males control a particular piece of territory and they guard it jealously, very jealously.
The newly arrived females tussle for the best spot. These spats pale in comparison to their male counterparts.
Fighting between two elephant seals is nasty. It's some of the most graphic fighting that I've ever seen.
Whether it's the northern elephant seal with its bigger nose, or its cousin, the southern elephant seal, they both fight for the same reason, to win the title of Beachmaster and the right to mate with all the females on the beach.
So who are the Beachmasters defending against? They're defending against those scrappy wannabe males who want to mate but don't have their own territory. They're literally trying to grab females off the edge and mate with them.
The bulls begin by cranking the audio.
They will do everything they can to avoid coming to real physical blows because both the Beachmasters know what's at stake and what damage they can do.
They have this trunk-like nose, so it's a proboscis, this protruding nose. And like elephants, they use that nose, that flappy skin, for helping create that sound.
That sound is a warning horn. And the bigger the nose, the louder it blows.
Bigger animals make deeper sounds. So like it's a correlation between not just their condition, but their size. And then their size communicates strength and their ability to keep rivals out.
Most of the time, a good bellow does the trick. About 90% of these standoffs end without a fight. Unless, of course, the other guy is big enough to have a shot at winning.
When it's time to throw down, you don't get any small, sort of little subdominant males coming in. It's the big boys that are going to go for the clash of the titans. The first thing the two males do is physically square up against each other, and they will use their bulk to try and push against each other, just forcing their heads over, just having a good old-fashioned shoving match.
When shoving isn't enough, the knives come out.
They're canines, which are perfect for hunting, but they're also perfect for stabbing opponents in the face.
They swing their massive heads to drive those teeth into their rival.
It does get really, really nasty. I've seen some footage of male seals fighting so hard that they literally rip parts of each other's proboscis out. Ugh. I'm not easily grossed out, but elephant seals are one of the few that I'm like, I'd look away. It's just nasty.
It could be worse. A 15-centimeter layer of blubber over their chest is too deep for their 5-centimeter teeth to penetrate. It's only flesh wounds, but it's a lot of flesh wounds.
Elephant seals are gladiators. They are fighting, they are bloody, they are scarred.
Is all that pain worth it? Absolutely. The winner gets access to all the females in range. The loser gets nothing.
We've seen in genetic studies that the males, the dominant males, can father 90% of that year's pups. That is a huge, huge payoff for putting your body on the line. From a genetic point of view, that is hitting the jackpot.
90% is pretty good, but never underestimate the power of female choice.
Studies have also shown that some females will miss a year of breeding and yet return the next year pregnant, yet they haven't been at the beach.
The implication is that females sometimes stay at sea to mate with a male of their own choosing.
For a long time, the researchers who were doing this work, who happen to be men, the presumption was where you have males fighting over territories and the females simply go with the victor, as if they had no influence on it. Thanks to more women joining in biology and in animal behavior, we've learned that across the animal kingdom, including elephant seals, that females are demonstrating a lot more choice in interaction than anyone had previously thought.
Who can blame them for staying in the water when this is what's waiting on the beach? Just north of Antarctica, on the shores of South Georgia Island, a massive seabird with a bad reputation is itching for a fight.
The giant petrel is the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde of the animal kingdom. This is a bird that mates for life. They're a family man. I mean, they're great fathers. They co-parent with their mates to ensure the survival of their offspring. This could all be happening, you know, in the morning, but then, almost like a serial killer, if you introduce some competition, he snaps.
What triggers this mind-blowing switch? The petrel's unquenchable lust for lunch.
The giant petrel is the bad boy of the Antarctic Sea. They are voracious predators. They are totally and utterly into eating anything they can lay their beak on.
Today, the scent of fish in the wake of a trawler promises a lunch worth fighting for. Giant petrels are what's known as tube-nosed birds. The prominent nostrils on their huge hooked beaks are connected to special glands that remove excess salt from their blood. They also make petrels the bloodhounds of the sky.
Giant petrels have an incredible sense of smell. They use their sense of smell to identify and find carrion that's littered around in their domain. But they also feed on fish and krill and other things they find in the sea.
Smelly fish scraps quickly set off a watery brawl.
They're fighting over dead scraps. They're fighting over, organic waste for that matter. They're fighting over things that no other bird or animal would even be interested in, and they don't care who they hurt or who they kill to accomplish that goal.
Petrels bring a lot to the fight. They have a massive 2-meter wingspan and powerful hooked beaks that can tear into the flesh of rotting carcasses.
Their drive is incredible. When they find food, they come at each other with such ferocity because that drive is so strong to survive. It's the most crazy Thanksgiving food fight fest that you'll ever see. Can you imagine being at Thanksgiving and all of a sudden your mom ends up with a bloody nose?
Back on shore, giant petrels indulge in even darker appetites.
They have a murderous streak, and it is, unfortunately, a bloodbath for any prey item that falls within the grips of these very powerful, violent, and aggressive feeders.
They're experts at stealing penguin chicks from their parents.
They're a shore bird, but I'll tell you what, this is not the seagull that you see on a Sunday afternoon at the beach. They are extremely fast, they're extremely agile on land, and they're extremely violent.
A feast like a penguin is worth hogging. Every petrel wants to show that it's got first dibs. Head shakes and widespread wings tell the others to back off.
They puff themselves up, they show their ugly faces, open their beaks and call and open their wings. It's all a display. It's this whole thing to say, look, I'm bigger than you. I have more rank over you. Move aside.
Another weapon in their arsenal is what's called gacking. When a giant petrel gacks, he brings up this putrid, acidic, smelly, slimy intestinal fluid that comes out, and he directs that on his opponent. And not only is it disgusting, but it actually renders his potential opponent unable to fly.
When threats and chemical warfare don't work, wings and beaks become clubs and grappling hooks.
They have a lot of bulk behind them. The average weight, in fact, is between 5 to 6 pounds, but they have been found to weigh up to 11 pounds, so they are really big bruisers. They can charge up and push each other out the way.
Those very sharp, powerful beaks are great for breaking bone and also breaking each other. They can inflict serious wounds on each other that oftentimes could lead to death.
These birds get so into fighting, they sometimes lose track of what they're fighting for. While the big boys are battling over this penguin carcass, smaller petrels dash in and grab a quick bite.
There's something really primeval about these birds, but they have a very important role to play because there's got to be something around to clean up the bodies of other animals that die.
This is a bird that evolved to survive by any means necessary, and that might just be being a murderous garbage man.
It is all part of nature, and it has to be done.
Thousands of kilometers away, on the southern tip of Argentina, there's a very different beach. Like the petrel, these birds of a feather fight together, but this time it's not for food. Meet the Magellanic penguin.
Penguins are amongst the most amazing of birds because they don't actually look like birds.
Penguins are this close to being fish. They spend nearly all their lives swimming in the ocean, playing, feeding, just socializing, everything.
Like their more famous relatives in Antarctica, Magellanics live in colonies. They flock together, swim together. They even herd fish together, making lunch a lot easier to catch. But things take a darker turn when these birds come out of the water.
For a lot of them, the only time they ever hit land is for that once-a-year chance to breed. Once you get on land and breeding's on your mind, all bets are off.
So what sends these BFFs into a rage? Real estate.
Despite the fact you see them on TV in these massive colonies and everyone seems to be looking out for each other, when it actually comes down to the nitty-gritty, they are very, very, very jealous, overzealous even of their space.
That space is only a hole in the ground, but during breeding season, these burrows provide safe harbor for the Magellanics' offspring. But not all burrows are created equal. The best ones are sheltered by vegetation. So no surprise, there's gonna be some turf wars.
The Magellanic penguin, these are animals that will form lifelong pairs, and the pairs will use the same burrow year after year after year. So if you're going to commit to that kind of serious relationship, it's worth fighting for.
When a challenger comes calling, the owner hastily stakes a claim. He begins with some power posing.
Gaping of the mouth is something that's seen across many, many different species throughout the world. And it's very, very visual. It's an obvious warning. That mouth is open saying, I'm gonna come at you, I'm gonna come and get you.
And come he does. The defender drives into his rival beak first, and with a brutal one-flippered slap.
They seem to favor one side of their body. They might be right-flippered or left-flippered, right-eyed or left-eyed. And if it's the right-eyed side of their body, they attack with the left.
These flippers are built strong for swimming. This is full-throttle fury.
Blimey, do these guys go fighting for it? They use their entire bodies. They will slap with their flippers, they will push and bolster with their bodies, and they will peck with the beaks. That beak is like having a screwdriver attached to your head, and they are just going to jab, jab, jab. They're looking to hit the eyes, they're looking to hit the soft flesh around the face where the feathers are thin. They will peck and peck and peck.
Bloodied and battered, the loser retreats. And with their home secured, the mates can get on with raising a family.
It's usually over very quickly. There's obviously a clear winner. Maybe it's a bigger, stronger male or female. And so the loser goes, I want none of this, and goes off and tries to pick a fight that they can win.
If you can't mate, then you are going to die off because your genes are not worth passing on. You're not the strongest, you're not the fittest. It's all about, as Mr. Darwin once and famously said, it's all about survival of the fittest.
Meanwhile, in the warm ocean waters off the coast of Hawaii, an offshore smackdown is heating up. The contenders, a group of gargantuan humpback whales. They don't have teeth or claws to help them fight. Then again, they don't need them.
You're talking 40 metric tons and 15 meters or more. It's a school bus with fins.
It can do things like send its entire body right out of the water. If you are underneath that male when he hits the water again, it's good night for you.
So what makes these giants fight? What else? Mates.
Humpbacks can become aggressive when there is a limiting resource, and that limiting resource is quite often a female. Essentially, once a male has deposited his sperm, he's gone. And this gives him a sense of urgency with respect to getting a chance to make a deposit into a female's sperm bank, if you will.
For the males, it's a numbers game. They just want to mate with as many females as they can. But fertile or not, this female is focused on caring for her calf, not mating.
We don't know enough about the breeding and the physical act of mating of these whales to even say if the female involved is in heat.
Either way, she's not interested. She and her calf are racing away with the males in hot pursuit.
She's very unlikely to actually mate with anyone in this scenario. But the physicality of the males, the danger that they pose, the rush to get away from them, all this is going to exhaust a baby.
Protecting the baby is the female's priority. For the males, it's beating up the competition. It's like a demolition derby, humpback style.
When you are a 40,000 kilogram humpback whale, you can do some damage to your opponent. How are you going to do this? By charging into them at top speed.
They also swing their enormous 15-meter pectoral fins and tail flukes like clubs. Barnacles that attach to the whale's body provide a weapon's bonus.
That stuff's like broken glass. So when one of these big mature whales slaps an opponent with these bony, hard knuckles covered in razor-sharp barnacles, well, that's just a knuckle duster with added nails.
Luckily, the female is far from helpless.
Something that the females of this species have going for them is their massive body size. The females are actually bigger than the males rather than the other way around.
She'll put her body between the calf and the males to protect the calf, keep them away from them. She'll hit them with her fins, she'll ram them if she can.
She may be outnumbered, but she won't be outsmarted.
Everything happens around her. So she will then set off, not necessarily at a speed, but changing her pace, changing her movement, creating an underwater obstacle course, if you will, for the following males.
It's a high-stakes balance. The more energy she spends fighting off the males, the less energy she has to protect her calf.
It's like being caught in a never-ending mosh pit. It's just bodies smashing each other again and again and again and again, and eventually something's going to break.
It's astounding that the female has to expend so much energy in defending herself and her calf against this intrusion from these very, very aggressive males. And frankly, that's energy that she doesn't have because she won't be ingesting any additional food.
The female won't eat till she gets her calf back to her Alaskan feeding grounds, 5,000 kilometers away.
This is an enormous imposition on what she has available and on her ability to continue on living her life. In the worst case scenario, a female will run out of resources, and this will render her unable to look after her calf. Her calf could potentially drown or starve.
This time, however, her powerful defense and high speed are enough. The males give up, for now.
To watch a group of some of the world's largest, most charismatic, intelligent, wonderful creatures acting like horny teenagers is incredible. It doesn't get much better than this.
The shorelines of the world provide an incredible habitat that inspires deadly conflict. There's bullying on the beach, harsh turf wars on land, and even massive animals can't avoid a fight. That's the brutal cost of living along the coastal battleground.